Matthew Weaver Jr. was born on the 2nd of April 1997. He was raised in Simi by his stepmother Brooke Tipton and was extremely close with his brother and his two sisters. Those who knew Matthew described him as a kind young man who had a passion for rescuing animals. Like many 21-year-old men, Matthew was at a crossroads in his life come 2018. He had recently moved out of his stepmother's house in Simi Valley into a new apartment just a short drive away in Granada Hills, a suburb of LA. The apartment was also closer to his job, where he worked as a lineman for a telephone pole construction company. Not everything had been smooth sailing though. He had recently broken up with his long-term girlfriend Vanessa. Matthew though was looking forward to the future, and with a new apartment came a new circle of friends. He also said he hoped to travel the world in the near future. On Thursday, August the 9th, Matthew picked up his paycheck and stopped by to see his father, who was Brooke's ex-husband. The two chatted for a while and Matthew told him of his plans for later that night. He was going to hang out with one of his new female friends. Strangely though, while visiting his father, he asked to see his gun, and his father complied. For whatever reason, Matthew wanted to take a picture of himself holding the gun. His father at this point didn't question why. It was nearly midnight as Matthew walked to his car. His father gave him a hug and told him that he loved him and to stay safe. Little did he know that would be the last time he would ever see his son. After leaving his father's, Matthew drove to the female friend's house, arriving just after midnight to pick her up, and the pair partied together for the next few hours before Matthew dropped her back at home at roughly 4:30 a.m. The timeline varies a bit from site to site, but at 5:15 a.m. Matthew's car is on Mulholland Highway, and at 5:30 a.m. Matthew's car turns onto Stunt Road. Matthew's phone is still linked to the same account as his ex-girlfriend, so she was immediately able to look up the records. Matthew then posted a Snapchat video of the view from the trail at around 5:30 or 6 a.m. Between 6:24 and 6:57 a.m. another picture is posted on Matthew's Snapchat from the Stunt Road and Saddle Peak Road parking lot. Surveillance footage shows Matthew driving his silver BMW on the Topanga Tower Motorway headed towards Rosas Overlook near a gated area on the trail at 7:12 a.m. The gate was suspiciously left open when it normally remains locked and typically should only be accessible by first responders and law enforcement officials had someone else obtained the keys. A couple of hours later, Brooks says phone records show he exchanged a few text messages with the girl he'd been partying with earlier. He called her at around 11:30 a.m, but she was working and unable to call him back. It would be the very last text message Matthew would send at 11:55 a.m. to her that would leave many wondering just what happened that day. At approximately 11:55 a.m, Matthew sent one last message to his friend. The text was sent from the Rosas Overlook area in the Santa Monica Mountains. The ominous message said the following: "Some crazy shit was happening and he wanted to talk, while I have the chance." After this, his phone was either turned off or the battery died. Over 12 hours later, just after midnight on August the 11th, in the area near where surveillance footage last captured Matthew's car, hikers called police to report hearing a male and female calling for help. During their search for the people reportedly in need for help, the California Highway Patrol found Matthew's car. The car was located 2 miles down the dirt trail off Stunt Road. A female and male voice were reportedly heard screaming for help by witnesses, saying somebody has a gun. The car Matthew was driving was registered to his dad, so in the early hours of the morning, officers attended his residence. It was at this point most of his family were notified about what was going on. Almost immediately, first responders walked out to the site of Matthew's car. The Lost Hills Sheriff's Department and Malibu Search and Rescue responded to the scene with air and canine support, as well as infrared technology. Search and rescue, including Air Rescue 5, searched Backbone Trail twice, immediately upon learning of Weaver's disappearance. Matthew Jr. was then reported missing to the Lost Hill County Sheriff's Department, and over the following weeks multiple searches were conducted using cadaver dogs and helicopters, as well as people on the ground. Canines did pick up a scent, but lost it before they reached the road. Matthew's family grouped together with Matthew's ex-girlfriend and his father, Matthew Sr., being heavily involved with the search operations. Unfortunately, all came to nothing, with no new leads found, and the case went cold. With the case going nowhere, there has been much speculation as to the meaning behind various portions of the timeline prior to him going missing, especially the text message Matthew sent. Many believe Weaver knew he was walking into a dangerous situation on that day, with some friends believing that there was definitive connections to gang activity and drugs involved in Matthew's disappearance, and this could explain his unusual interest in his father's gun. The area was also known for its dirty dealings and other crimes. The bodies of Francesco Cruz and Eli Chavez were found on May the 16th and July the 27th, and Tristan Baudet, 35, was shot and killed while camping in Malibu Creek State Park in June. Up until this point, it is widely reported police were trying to keep a lid on the shootings in the area. Now, with Matthew's disappearance, there was increased speculation that he had also suffered the same fate, and with the recent murders and ongoing reports of shots fired in the area, it was surprising that when Matthew Weaver Jr. was first reported missing, local news stations ignored the family's pleas for coverage. The family was also extremely frustrated as authorities brushed off Matthew's disappearance, almost ruling out foul play, even given the recent dangerous activity in the canyon, and there would be more frustration for the family to come. Many more victims came out telling their stories of being shot at while staying in the area. After multiple organised searches by family, friends and volunteers, a hat, torn t-shirt with what appeared to be blood on it, and a car key belonging to Matthew was found on January the 27th, 2019, not far from where Matthew was last seen. The evidence was handed over to the former head of Search and Rescue at the Malibu Lost Hills station, but remained in an evidence locker at the station for approximately 3 months. Repeated pleas by the family to get LAPD to collect the evidence for testing were ignored, and the family would continue to be ignored when requesting information regarding the night Weaver went missing. The initial incident report was not made available to the family, who continued to get the runaround by multiple agencies. Further mishandling of the case included the former head of Search and Rescue telling the family LASD worked with LAPD, contacting the neighbours in the area for security camera footage from that night. When the family contacted LAPD for the information from the camera footage, LAPD said no search efforts were made and they had no footage from that night. The lack of help from law enforcement was too much to bear for Matthew's father and led to a complete breakdown in his mental health, resulting in him shooting at officers in an incident a couple of years later. No officers were actually hurt in this incident. As the years have gone on, the family are still no closer to answers, and many have their own theory as to what happened on that day. The hike to Topanga Lookout past the locked white gate that Matthew's car drove past, even in broad daylight, is full of creepy characters loitering about. What was once a scenic environment is now a hike at your own risk scenario, with shady activity that now takes place at all hours of the day and night. The last known text Weaver sent out at 11:53 a.m. could indicate a dangerous scenario was taking place at that very moment. Less than 24 hours later, Malibu Search and Rescue was actively searching for Weaver, but what happened to Matthew between these 2 points remains a mystery to this day. And as of 2025, Matthew Weaver remains missing, and his case unsolved.